So is my screen visible to all of you? Am I audible to you? Hello guys.
Yes, sir.
So are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So whatever the topics we have covered till now, so anyone has any questions regarding that? If nobody, then we can continue with today's topic. Okay, fine. So today we'll start with a new topic that is i18. So i18 is nothing but it is a resource model. So previously we have seen the JSON model. Okay, so today we'll see the resource model. Okay, so let me open the WordPad. Okay, so what is i18n? So anybody know or anybody heard about this term i18n?
Yes, it's for the language setting or some layout setting, something like that. Means you can set the language in this, and also that unit of measure also means that conversion kind of a thing you can maintain it.
Okay, okay, yes, that's absolutely right. Okay, so let me tell you what is I18. So I18N is nothing but it is a internationalization. Okay, so internationalization means keeping all the text, all the hard-coded text of the application in one central place, or it can be stored in one place. Okay, so why we generally store all the text in one place? Because in future, suppose this application as of now it is running for the English language, right? So in future, if I want that application to run on any other language like German or French, so in that case, whatever the text we have stored in a central place, that can be easily translated to the different languages. Okay, so that's why we use the internationalization concept in the UI5. Okay, so what is meant by i18n? i18n is nothing but I means it is the first character of word internationalization. Okay, so I means it is the first character of word internationalization. And why 18? 18 means the letters which are falling after the I character, okay, till n. So whatever the letters between I and n are nothing but the 18 characters, so that's why the name is called as the i18n. Okay, so n is the last character, and the 18 means the characters which falls between the I and the last character n. Okay, okay, so you got this term i18n. Okay, so generally we use the i18n to store all the hard-coded text. Okay, so as a best practice in an application, make sure that whatever the text or any message if you are displaying in the application, make sure that all the text can be stored in one central place, so that that can be easily translated to any different languages. Okay, not for the languages, but it is also the best practice to store all the characters, hard-coded characters, in one central place, because in a future, if you got a requirement to change a particular word or a text for that anything, okay, for a controller, you can easily find that text in a central place. Okay, that's in the i18n. Okay, so that's why we use the i18n. So i18n is nothing but it is a internationalization. So internationalization means keeping all the text in a central place. Okay, so now, so how i18n works in the UI5? Okay, so generally i18n works in the three parts. Okay, is divided in 3 parts. Okay, so first is resource bundle. Next we have resource model, and in the end we have the controls. Okay, so what is the resource bundle? Okay, so let me open the application once so that you guys can know this thing better. So you can see in the project folder of JSON mproj. Okay, so this is the folder name. Under that I have the web app folder. Okay, so you can see we have one separate folder, that is i18n. Okay, so generally we so i18n, it is a folder, and inside that, so the file you can see, right, i18n.properties. so this file is nothing but it is a resource bundle file. Okay, so what generally this file means, so inside this file you can see we generally store the values in the key value pairs. Okay, so this is the key which is separated by the symbol equal to, and then we have the title. Okay, so this is the value and this is the key for that value. Okay, so normally same like generally we store the object, right, the data in the object format in the UI5, but for the i18n, for the resource bundle we store the values in the flat structure. Okay, there is no object, you cannot see any object that we have declared inside the i18n.properties folder. Okay, so generally if you want to declare or if you want to create some n number of files, make sure that the extension of file must be .properties. Okay, so that's why it is called as a resource bundle. Okay, so in resource bundle always the key must start with a small case. Okay, so key names always start with a camel case, and then after that you need to declare equal to, and then it follows the value for that key. Okay, so always the keys are declared or written in the camel case. Okay, so this is the resource bundle. Okay, so generally we call this file as a resource bundle files. Okay, in the term of UI5. So next we have the resource model. So what is the resource model? So resource model is generally it's similar to the JSON model. So whatever the text we display in the i18n.properties. Okay, so generally whatever the key value pairs are available inside this folder, we store it inside the resource model. Okay, and with the help of resource model we can definitely bridge a gap between the controls and the data, this resource bundle. Okay, so generally the resource model, it is a bridge between the resource bundle and your controls. Okay, so what will happen with the help of resource model, you generally consume all this text data and you can easily display that data into the controls. Okay, so that is nothing but a resource model. And finally what we have the controls. Okay, so controls are the thing. So I think we have already seen the number of controls, couple of controls like button and all. So whatever the text, let's say for the button, if I want to display the text as a close. Okay, so rather than hard coding that text at that place, I can easily declare that text into this folder, into this file, resource bundle file, and then I can bind that text with the help of resource model. Okay, to the control. So automatically when I run this application, whatever the key value pairs I have stored for that button control inside these properties, that can be easily accessible or that can be easily displayed when I run this application. Okay, so have you guys understand this thing? You want me to explain it once again? Resource bundle, resource model and the controls. Any questions in this? Okay, that's good then. Okay, let's proceed further. So now what I will do, so now let's do the binding part. Okay, let's display some text to the controls. So so for the JSON model, we have already seen we need to make sure that we have to declare first model, right? The models can be declared in two ways, that is in the manifest.json, or we have to declare in the main page or in the controller file. Okay, so once we declare the the model, and with the help of model instance we can bind the data to the controls. Okay, but what will happen in case of resource bundle, So as of now, SAP UI5, every month they are releasing the new features, right, to the UI5. So every month they are keep updating the UI5. So in the i18 case also, already when you create your application, I will open the manifest.json file. So under the model section, you can see one i18 model name. Okay, so this is model name, and what is of type? It is of type resource model. Okay, so that's why whenever the term i18 comes, make sure that you use the resource model. So you don't have to do any configuration related to this, because when you create a new application, automatically by default, so this feature is already added to your manifest.json file by the UI5. Okay, so this type is nothing but this is the model name. Generally we are using the resource model, and after that in the settings object we have the bundle name. So resource bundle we have seen. So resource bundle is nothing but the actual file name. Okay, so you can see one i18. So this is the file name. We never declare the extension in this JSON format. Okay, so bundle name is nothing but your resource bundle. Okay, so now let's do the binding part. Okay, so what I will do, so I'll open the main page.view.xml file. So any questions till now? Anyone has any questions? Okay, I take it as okay, okay, it's fine. So now let's do some binding part for the i18 thing. Okay, I'll remove all this content. So we are referring the same application that we have already developed the previously. Okay, so already we have the data content inside this model. So already we have one JSON file for the product.json. So now I'll declare one control. Okay, so I'll declare one control. Let's say the title. Okay, so for this is the page is nothing but it is a control for the UI5, and the property is title. So as of now you can see the product information. So this text we have hard coded as of now in the application. So as a best practice, I have to remove this hard coded text from the control, and I have to make sure that it must be placed inside the i18.properties file. Okay, so I'll remove this. Okay, so first I'll go back to the properties. So you can see one title. Okay, so this title is already binded to this main page.view.xml when you initially create your application. So I can definitely use this title property, or if you don't want to use, you can declare your own property name. Okay, so let's say I'm saying the page title. Okay, so I'll give equal to, and then the name of the key is in camel case, and then I'll give the title value as products information. Okay, so now I have declared one key, and this is the value for that key. Okay, so I'll copy this key. I'll go back to the main page.view.xml. So if I want to do the binding, how can I do this? So if I want to do the binding, first I have to make sure that whether the model name is declared or not for the model, right? But in the manifest.json file, I can see a model name is already provided. If the model name is empty, if there is no model name applied or for this resource model, then I don't have to declare a model name, but a model name is present, so I have to copy this model name. So generally we do the binding in standard binding syntax, that is inside the double quotes with the followed by opening and closing curly braces, and inside that I will declare the model name, and after that I'll use the greater than sign. Okay, so I'll use the greater than sign, and after that what I have to use, I have to directly use the key name. Okay, so I'll copy, I'll directly declare the key name. Okay, then I'll save. Okay, I'll save the i18.properties file also, and now I'll run the application. Okay, so now when I run this application, you can see, So whatever the text I have declared for that control, for the page control, it's picking that value from the i18.properties folder. Why? Because that control, that model is already declared inside the model sections, and as a best practice you have to always use the resource model. In case if you want to translate that text into the different language, or if you want to make sure that if you want to avoid the hard-coded text in the XML files, okay, in the application. So how it will be, so what can be the use case for this? How it can be the useful? Let's say in the requirement, if the client is saying that please change this title name, okay, please change the title name, instead of product information give the product details. So you don't have to search for the controller file, you don't have to search for the fragments or the view file. You can directly open the i18.properties file, and inside that you can directly search for that key, and you can directly change the value. So you can, this key can be used in n number of places, okay, there is no restriction for this. You can definitely use the same. Let's say if in the application I have the 4 buttons which is of type close, okay, so in the 4 places I have to display the same text close. So rather than changing at the 4 places, I can simply change at the 1 place. Okay, I can simply use the same key in the n number of places, and automatically the value will be reflected in all the places. Okay, so are you guys getting this? Any questions so far in the i18? Yes?
No.
So it's fine, right? So whatever till now, are you guys getting it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so now, in XML, so generally this is what we have seen for the view.xml file. Okay, so now what if I want to declare the same thing inside the controller? So what can be the changes I have to do? Okay, so if I want to, let's say if I want to change, what I will do, I'll declare one control here. Okay, so for button text, I'll use the same syntax, i18n colon close. Okay, I'll close, and I'll copy this key, I'll store here, and I'll provide the value that whichever I want to display. Okay, now I'll save this file. Okay, and let's reload the app. Okay, so now I can see the close button also. Now what if I want to declare the same control inside the inside the controller file? Okay, so now for that I'll go back to the main page.controller. So this is our onInit function. So inside the onInit function, first I'll get the model, right? So if I want to get all the values from this i18.properties file, so first I have to make sure that first I have to get the model. So for getting the model, I'll declare one variable as a resource model. Okay, so I'll follow this dot get view dot get model. Okay, so inside the get model, what is the name of the model? i18n. Okay, I'll copy, I'll save, and after that dot get resource bundle. Okay, so this is what I have to do. So what I've done, first I've get the model, and after that with the help of get resource bundle, so whatever the resource bundle file, the values it is holding, so it will get all those values. Okay, so inside this o resource model variable. Okay, so this will act as an instance for this model. So now what I have to do, first I'll declare one button control, button equal to new sap.m.button. Okay, so for the text, now if I want to get the text from the resource bundle, so I cannot follow the same binding syntax that we have done for the XML, but in case of controller there is a slight change. So this is the instance, right, o-resource model for this i18. So I'll copy this o-resource model dot get text. Okay, I'll write the get text method. So what text I want to get? So it generally accepts the two parameters. The first is the key name, and the second if you want to pass the multiple parameters. Okay, so that we will see the multiple parameters in some time. So before that, if I want to get the text for this button, so what text I have to get? I have to get the text as a close. Okay, so for that I will definitely use the key. Okay, every time you have to declare the key name inside the get text, and that must be inside the double quotes or single quotes. Okay, so now this text, so whatever the text is available inside the resource bundle or the properties file, that we have already get in the controller file. Okay, with the help of get text method. Okay, so now finally what I have to do, I have to place this button on the page, on this page, right? So I'll use the ID of the page, dot add content. So I'll add the content of button. I'll add the control button onto the page. Okay, I'll save and then I'll just reload it. Okay, so I think there is some issue. Let me check. Okay, so it's saying cannot read property get resource bundle of undefined. So is there any issue with this method? Anyone has any input to add? Hello? Is anything wrong we have done here? So why we are getting this?
Are you missing any brackets?
That's why I'm checking. I think I've missed something. Oh, resource model dot get text. Okay, so this is also fine because close is a key. Okay, let's add the debugger points. We'll see what is the issue with this. Okay, so this is the model. We'll copy. Okay, so the model itself we are getting as a undefined. So now let me change some rules. Okay. I'll save. Okay, so now I'm able to get the model. Okay, so what I've done, okay, so now generally this i18n is a global model. Okay, it's at the component level, not at the view level. Okay, so previously whichever the JSON models we used to declare, that was only specific to that current view, okay, for the current page, but it was, that model was not accessible to the another pages. Okay, if I have a couple of controller files and couple of view files, and if I want to access the same model, okay, same model, if I want to access throughout the application globally, so in that case I have to make sure that that model is declared on the component level. Component means at the global level. But if you want to declare that model as a local level, so instead of get owner component, you can directly write get view. Okay, so why I was not able to get, because that model was not at the view level, that model was at the component level, that model was a globally. So whenever you declare any model inside the manifest, make sure that that model will be available throughout the application. Okay, so that's why I have to write get owner component. Okay, so the meaning of get owner component means it will get the model from the owner, from the component level, from the global level. Okay, so whenever you declare any model globally, so make sure you use this method get owner component, so it will set that model to the global. Okay, so any questions? Okay, so now I can see I was able to get the close button. So whatever the text I have fetched from the dot properties file, so it is getting reflected for this button control. Okay, so you got it right. Difference between the local model and the global model. Local model means it is specific to the current page, like main page. But if I am declaring the model on the get owner component level, so that model is available at the global level throughout the application. Anyone has any questions? No questions? Okay, I'll proceed further. Okay, so now what we have done, we have stored the values in one resource bundle file, right? But how the translation will happen for this file? Let's say if any person who is in the France or in the Germany, okay, and generally the default language for his browser is suppose the German or the French. Okay, so in what manner the text will be displayed for him? So if you want to make sure that this application can be translated to the browser based language, so for that I have to create one more file inside this i18.properties. Okay, so now what I will do, I'll create one new file inside this i18n folder, and I will make sure that the extension must be dot properties. Okay, so I'll create one new file for the French language. So this is the file. So I have to follow the same syntax i18n, but I have to give underscore after that, and then I have to declare the language acronym. Okay, so for France, French, France, what is the acronym? That is FR. Okay, so language okay. So now what I will see, I'll check the codes. What are the language codes? So for French, what is the language code? FR. Okay, so I'll copy this FR. So after the i18n underscore, I'll paste the FR, and then I'll give dot properties. Okay, so make sure that whenever if you want to add some multiple i18 files, resource bundle files related to your languages, so you have to create a separate files. Okay, there are separate resource bundle files, and automatically these files will be picked based on your browser's default language. Okay, you don't have to do anything internally. It is been taken care by the UI5 itself. Okay, so now I'll I'll create this file i18n underscore fr dot properties. So this is for the French language. I'll press OK. Okay, so now what I have to do, I will copy this same, I'll copy this, I'll paste it here. Okay, so the key will never change. The key will be in the same format, because what will happen if the key changes? Then every time you need to make sure that it is being changed in the controller, in the view, and in the controller also, right? So in order to make sure that, in order to avoid such kind of collision, so SAP has made sure that the key remains consistent throughout the application or throughout the different resource bundle files. Okay, but what will change? Only the value will change. So now I'll open here. Okay, so now what I will type, I want to type this value, product information. So what value this? Okay, for the French, I will copy this value and I'll replace this value with this current value. Okay, and I'll also check for the close. Okay, so this is the close. I'll copy, I'll change. Okay, so now I'll just save this file. Now what I have to do, so if I want to make sure that this value changes based on the browser's default language, then I'll open this the Google Chrome setting tab. Okay, so after that I'll type the language. Okay, so this is the language. So I can see there is a option to add the languages. Okay, so I'll click here, add language, and I'll search for the French. Okay, so I'll select this first, I'll add. Now, so as of now the primary one is English. Okay, so I'll make sure that the French must be the default language for this browser. Then only the UI5 will pick the French related resource bundle from the application, from the i18's model folder. So I'll add this French language on the top. I'll move it to the top. So now the French is the default language for this browser. Okay, I'll just go back to this application and I'll reload it. Okay, so when I reload, you can see automatically whatever the text we have defined for the close, it changes into the French language, and you can also check for the title, right? So this is how we generally do for the language translation purpose for the application. Okay, so somebody says that we want to make sure that this application must be translated to this and so languages. So make sure that you create a separate file based on the language that your client needs. Okay, so whatever the properties we declared inside this folder, so make sure that to copy all those properties and paste it here, and just replace the values for it. Okay, the keys would remain the consistent, but only the value changes. Okay, so now what will happen? Let's say I'll add one more language here. Okay, so let's say I'll add this language, Afrikaans. Okay, I'll add, and now I'll move it to top. So now what will happen? So we haven't added the African resource bundle file inside this i18 model. So what will happen in this case? Anyone can guess what will happen? Anyone want to share?
The language will come.
Yes, what language it should pick, because we haven't maintained any file, right, for this.
By the English it will come.
Okay, yeah, that's absolutely right. So what i18 does, UI5 does, if for the language African, if the resource bundle is not present inside the i18 folder, then it will pick the default file, that is nothing but i18n.properties file. Okay, so always it will pick the default file in this case. Okay, so as of now I have changed it to the Afrikaans, so I'll reload. If that particular resource bundle file is not present, then it will pick the default file. Okay, so I can see the default file is picked, and whatever the values I have defined for the resource bundle file, that is getting reflected on the application. Okay, So are you guys getting it? Is this simple?
Yes. Question here, suppose this in the i18n, so i18 is the default means
Yes, it is
for
a
the
default
English
file.
language.
Right. So this by default it is for the English only, but if you want to add some specific to the languages, so you can create a file here. Okay, make sure that the values, the keys must be consistent. It should be the similar to the default resource bundle file names, but only the value changes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm giving you guys 10 minutes. Please open your application and try to practice it. Okay, so after 10 minutes we'll continue with the new advanced topic in this only. Okay, so open your application without wasting the time. I'll keep this open so that you guys can refer. So whatever the text, I'll copy this, I'll paste it on the notepad so that you can see both the things at the same time. Guys, is it completed? Is it done? Is it done or you need some time?
Yeah, we can continue.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so now just now we have seen how to handle the hard-coded or the static text in the i18.properties file, and also we have seen how the translation is done or it's been handled by the UI5. Okay, so now what if I want to handle the dynamic text? Okay, let's say if I'm getting one value from the SAP system, and that is on the runtime, and I just want to display the message, okay, by picking the value from the runtime. So how that can be possible? I cannot declare the hard-coded text, right, in this i18.properties. That is not possible, right? Because let's say if from the backend, if the person's name, if I want to display the person's name, that so and so person is accessing this and this project. Okay, so regarding this, if I just want to display the message with the help of i18n.in, but I cannot hardcode that person's name inside this i18n.properties file, right? So if in such cases, there is also we have one option that now what I will do, I'll go back to the main page, oh sorry, main page.vue.xml. Okay, so now I'll comment this code and also comment this buttons code. Okay, now I'll go back to this file. So any message that I can display, anyone can tell me that what kind of message should I display here? Now let's say I already have this file, okay, the product.json file. So this model, it's already present in the manifest.json, right? the product model, because in previous lecture we have seen this model. So I will access the same model and I'll try to display, I'll try to fetch the details from that model, the product model, and I'll display it in the i18n text. Okay, so it should be a combination of the static text with the dynamic text from the product.json file. Okay, so what can be the text I can display? Let's say I'll display one text as product name with categories. Okay, so I'll write opening and closing. I'll write 0. Okay, this is first. I'll give dot. Okay, so now I'll copy. I'll go back to this view.xml. Instead of button, I'll use the text equal to double quotes. Okay, I'll write parts colon array comma formatter colon in single quotes. I'll write jQuery.sap.format message, and inside that I will declare one values. So first path colon i18n. So what I have to okay, I've already copied it. Okay, so now I'll give the comma. Again I'll use this. So what is the product model? This is the model, right? I'll copy this model name, and from the product model I'll access the first value. Okay, first records value, that is the category, this laptops, and the name this. Okay, so I'll pick these values. So in the real application, you want to pick this. You have to pick this from the SAP system. Means you will get those values, and you will store those values inside the product model, and you can easily fetch those values with the help of model. Okay, so now I'll go back to this main page.view.xml, and inside this path again I have to write colon the model name followed by slash, and what I have to do, the product collection slash 0 slash what is the first key, sorry, name, copy. Okay, I'll paste it here, and after that again I'll do the same thing for the second property, that is the categories. So what is the category? This is the value, sorry, key. Okay, so now I've done it. I'll save, and I think I missed something here. Okay, I haven't closed the text control, and now it's saved. Okay, I'll save, and now I'll run, sorry, I'll reload this app. Okay, so now I can see the values, whatever I have defined in the model, the first property and the second property, it's automatically picking it from the i18, right? With the help of model we declared. The product notebook basic 15 is categorized as a laptops. So now how it's work, means how the i18 generally works for the dynamic. So this is our key name. So key name is consistent throughout the application, so there is no issue with this. Then we have defined the equal to and then the actual value. Okay, so this is the static text, okay, the product, and after that this is the first parameter we are passing. Okay, so first parameter always start from the 0, so that's why whatever the values we defined for the parameters, it's in the array format, right? So we have declared the array. Inside the array, this is the 3 objects we defined. okay, in the sequence. So make sure that the sequence must be the same. First must be your i18 name, i18 property name, and then followed by the model's name. Okay, so at the 0th position, so first what property I have to display? The product 0. So the 0 means I have to display the name of the product, right? So that's why I have binded the name property. Okay, so this is the name property I have binded, and after that the category at the second parameter. So this is the second parameter. So the index normally is a 1. So that's why I have defined the category. Okay, that's why I defined the category as a property. Okay, so this is how we generally handle the dynamic hard-coded text in the i18 section. Okay, so generally we use this thing if you on the real time, if you want to display any message, or if you want to display any the text or information, okay, on the real time, so that you can easily do with the help of this the dynamic formatting of the UI5. Okay, so in the end we have used the formatter. So we'll see in detail what is the formatter, that is in tomorrow's in the tomorrow's session. Okay, in the detail the formatter. So generally this is the standard syntax that I have defined. So using the syntax jQuery.sap.format message, so it will help to format the message. Okay, so it will help to pick the values dynamically from the models. That's why we have used the formatter jQuery.sap.format message. If I'm not using this, you will get the blank screen. Okay, the things will not work properly. That's why I have to define the formatter. So we'll say this formatted in detail in tomorrow's session. But as of now, just understand that this is the standard syntax for the formatting of the i18 text. Okay. So any questions in this? What we have done? This is the standard syntax we always have to follow. There is nothing to explain, but
could you just scroll right, Avik?
Okay.
To the right.
Okay.
Avik, there is one more question. So you said there are 2 now. We have given 0 and 1, but you have passed here 3. Means if you see the 3 commas are separated by 3 commas means.
Yes. So why that I have done? Because if I want to bind this value, so where I can bind?
Okay.
We have to bind, right? i18.
Bind the title. Okay. Okay.
Yes. So it will skip this and it will only pick these values. But
Okay.
in the controller, we have to do in different manner. So that I'll show in some time, in few minutes. But at least you guys understood this. At least how we declare generally. Okay. So make sure that the sequence is very important. Okay. If you are changing the sequence, then you will get a different values in place of these parameters. Okay, so we generally use the parameters for the.
So in the real time also, I think in the real time also we use like this only 0 and 1.
Yes. In real time also we generally use this only.
Okay. Okay.
What will change? Nothing will change. Only we have used this static local file, right?
We get from the
dynamic content. Sorry.
From OData or some from the OData.
I didn't get you.
I'm saying from the OData.
Yes, from the OData. Yes.
This could be any number, right, Avi?
Yes, it could be any number.
So we are just replacing these numbers with the
pick,
actual text.
It can be a means you can generally if you want to declare the 4 or 5 values at the runtime from the OData, so you can declare the 4 parameters 0, 1, 2, 3 likewise. Okay, but make sure that the index always start from the 0.
Okay.
Okay, so now so anybody has any questions? Okay, now so let's see the same thing how we declare in the controller part. Okay, so I'll comment this code in the view.xml. Okay, so I've commented this code now. So So if I have to perform the same thing in the controller, so I have to make sure that I have the context of the model. Okay, so I'm already having the context of model in the variable o resource model. Okay, then I'll declare one I'll declare one new control here. Sorry, text. Okay, so this is the text property, and to give the semicolon. So now what property I have to access? So I have to access the property, this one, right? Product name with categories. I'll copy, I'll paste it here instead of the close. Okay, so o resource model dot get text. So this is the property, and then I have to give the comma, and then I have to use the array brackets. Okay, so it is pretty much clear in the case of controller, but it's confusing in the case of view.xml. Okay, so in array, what parameters I have to pass? The two parameters, right? The first for the name and second for the categories. So I cannot directly bind whatever I've done in the view.xml file. In the view.xml file, I've followed the standard binding syntax, the product model, the greater than sign / product collection. No, I cannot follow these steps because it is an array. So for the array, I have to pass the values. Okay, so that the values I have to first store in the variable, and then I will pass. So I'll create one more in variable. So what model I have to access? The product model, right? I'll copy product model dot get data. So what data I have to get? This one, product collection. Okay, dot product collection. I'll give the semicolon. Sorry, product collections of 0. Okay, so now in O model, I'll write O model dot name, comma, O model dot the second parameter name. What it is a categories. So I'll explain you what I've done. Okay, I'll save. Okay, I have to remove the semicolon, and then I'll add this text to the page control. Okay, so I'll save and I'll run. I think I got some error. Cannot read property get data of undefined.
Do we need to use the get owner component here as well?
Yes, right. Because generally, if we define model inside the manifest, it is a global level. It's at the component level. So that's why I have to use the get owner component. Okay, I'll save and now I'll check. So I'll put the debugger point so you guys you guys can see what is happening here. Okay, I think there is some syntax error. No, I don't think so. Is my screen visible, right, guys, to all of you? I thought my internet. Okay, 0 undefined. Okay, so now I'll reload it. Let's do the reload. Okay, so this is the model. I'll copy. Get data. So why I'm getting the empty array? Any clue? Anyone has any idea about this? Why I'm getting as an
Can
empty?
you check the model name, whether it is a small m or capital M?
Okay, I will go back to this manifest. Okay, so this is the model name, right? I'll copy and I'll paste it here. Sorry, where it is. Okay, so it's the same, but still I'm getting the empty. I'll go to the network tab and I'll check. You can see here, right? So what is happening here? So I have used on init, okay, and inside the on init I have just I have declared the instance of the model, and whatever the data I want to access, so I'm accessing it in the on init. But what I can see, due to the because uh, generally these files are loaded in the asynchronous, okay, not in the synchronous. What synchronous does, it will wait for the first file and then it will load the second file. But in case of asynchronous, it will not wait for the second files. Everything can be downloaded in the background, okay. But now what happened, our product.json file is not loaded yet, and before that only our controller file loaded, okay, and whatever the text we have defined for this product collection, so that's why I'm not getting any data inside the console, right? So when I get this, I'm getting the blank. Generally it happens in some cases if if sometimes the JSON file load fast, or sometimes it not. So what I'll do, instead of the product, I can declare one more. I'll declare one local object here, and I'll try to put it here. Okay. So generally we don't declare everything inside the on init. We declare one separate function. Okay. So we generally do this thing once everything is loaded. Okay. So in OData case also, if you are declaring one model, and if the service is not fetched properly, okay, if the data is not available in the model, and before that only if you are trying to do some kind of operations, you're trying to do some binding thing with the model data, so it will not work. Okay, it will always throw an error. So guys, there is some slight interruption. Can you guys please go on mute? Okay, now it's fine. Okay, so now how to overcome this issue now? My product.json file, it's in the pending state, and but I have to display the text. Is anything I can do?
Can we write our code in on after rendering?
Okay, let's try. Okay, I have to copy all these things. I'll paste here, and I'll add the comment. Okay. See, again it failed. And I'll show you how it's failed now. Okay, so now my debugger point is at the 21 line number. I'll go back to the network tab. I'll check for the product.json. Still it's in the pending. Okay, so what we can do, so as of now that file is not loaded, so instead of that I'll use one local object here. Okay, so I'll create a separate model here and I'll try to bind it. Because generally what we do initially, if I want to load the data, we generally do it with the help of OData. Okay, in the OData we first fetch the service and then we bind. But for the learning purpose, as we are using the local file, so it's not available. Okay, but in case of view, what happens? In case of view, so the view will not wait for the file. Okay, so view will not wait for the file. Once the file is loaded, automatically the data will appear on the screen. But in case of controller, as JavaScript uses the interpretation concept, right? JavaScript is a interpreter, so it will execute line by line. So once if the data is not available, it will not execute further. That's why we are getting the error, and that's why we cannot see anything on the screen. But in the XML, the page will be parsed. Okay, it will be parsed, and once the data is available, it will automatically appear on the XML file. Okay, so now what I will do, I'll create one separate object here. I'll comment this code. I'll declare one local object. Okay, so now I'll create one model here. So inside that I'll write product info colon, I'll pass object. Okay, and now I'll keep the model name as a product model, sorry, product M, because the product model is already present. Okay, so now this object is already having this data. I'll use this. Okay, I'll replace this, and after get data dot product info. Okay, so there is no array, so I'll remove the array. And now the product info dot name and the model dot category. Okay, I'll save, and now I'll reload. Oh, sorry. It is a view model, right? It's not a global model, it's a local model for this page. Okay, so now I can see the data is getting populated here. Okay, so what I've done, okay, so rather than waiting for the product.json, so as of now we are using this local, so for the XML it will work, for the controller it will not work generally, because the on init will get executed first. After that the on before rendering. At the first time, whenever you load any page, so always the preference will be given for the on init. The priority will be given for the on init, and rest after that the on before rendering and on after rendering. Okay, but as this on after rendering and on before rendering is triggered, till then the product.json file is not loaded yet. So that's why we are unable to bind the data from this product.json. Okay, so generally we don't do, as a just for the learning purpose, we are trying to access the data from the local file, but from the in the real application, we first fetch the data from the OData services, and we first store it in the model, and then we do these things. Okay, so this is how we do. So now what I've done, I've created a separate model, a product M, and inside that this is the property for this product M, and inside that I have stored the object, and object, it just holds the two properties, the name and the category. So that's why what I've done, so I've written the line of code as a this.getView. So this model is declared on the view level, not on the component or a global level. So that's why I haven't used getOwner component. Okay, so if I want to declare as a globally, then I instead of writing as a getView, I've written it as a getOwner component. Okay, so now this.getView.get model, so I have to get this model, and after that get data. So with the help of this get data method, it will get all the data which is present inside the model. Okay, and after that I'll access the product info. Okay, so inside the product info, the values are not stored in the array format, it is in the object format, so it is directly an object. So that's why I'm directly writing the O model dot name and O model dot category. Okay, so any questions in this? Have you guys understood or not? Am I audible, guys?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So so Gayatri, what about you? Are you able to get this or not?
I guess I have to listen it once again. I mean, all the video, this video. Yeah.
Okay. 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 So so what I've done. So if you want to handle the i18, the dynamic text in the controller part, so we generally use the syntax as oResource model dot get text, and inside the get text, it generally takes the two parameters. The first one is the key name. The key name is nothing but the key we generally stored in the i18n.properties file, and next we just need to declare one array, and inside the array pass the two values, the whatever the parameters we declare for that key, the first and the second. So in the same, maintain the sequence and just pass the values as it is. Okay, so automatically these values will be picked, and it can be binded to this it can be applied or to this text control. Okay, so this is how we generally do in case of controller, but in the view we have to follow the syntax, the path, and inside the path declare all the syntax, and make sure to use the formatter as a jQuery ACP.format message. Okay, okay, I'll delete this. So I'll copy this in notepad. So guys, I'm giving you the 20 minutes. Please open the application and try to use this syntax in your application, okay, for the dynamic text handling. Okay, so this is for the view. Okay, so guys, please open your application and just use this syntax, okay, for the text and for the controller part. So guys, is it done? Is it done, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll start with the next topic, a new topic. It's not like i18. So it's something different with the formatting part. Okay, so expression binding. Can anyone can tell what is the expression? A binding thing. So I think everybody knows it. Binding, with that we generally do the binding. But what about the expression? What can be the expression? Nobody? Okay, so let me tell you what is the expression binding. So expression binding means just a binding expression. Okay, so it is just a advanced kind of the standard binding that we generally do from the normal binding. Okay, so normally binding, how we do, we follow the path like the model name, uh, we follow the path like model name, then the greater than sign, then slash, and then property name. Okay, so generally this is how we follow the binding syntax as a standard binding syntax. But what happens in a case of expression binding? So in the with using this binding, the model name and property name, you can evaluate the conditions. Okay, if you want to check the conditions on the runtime, that you can easily do with the expression binding. Or if you want to format some text, okay, so for that also you can use the expression binding. Okay, if you want to evaluate multiple condition like more than one, so you can also use the expression binding. But if the condition is complex where you need to write the JavaScript logic, so you should always prefer the formatter. So formatter, this is a new topic that we will see tomorrow, but before that let's focus on the expression binding. So expression binding is also helpful if you want to evaluate the conditions. Okay, so if you want to evaluate the conditions, and in the meanwhile if you want to format the text that you want to display for the control, so for that purpose we generally use the expression binding. It is just an enhancement of your standard UI5 binding syntax. So now let's say if I want to check the condition like from the product model. Okay, so I'll go back to here, I'll save, I'll open this product.json file. Okay, so now this is my JSON file. Okay, but these are all properties I am getting. Okay, but I am not getting anything like whether I want to in some cases whether I just want to display the text in red color, or if I want to make the text in green color, right? If I want to just evaluate the condition, now let's say the quantity is 10, or maybe let's take this price field. Okay, so now for the price I'm having as a value as a 956, but for the some products it can vary, right? It can be less than 500 or it can be more than 1000. So if you want to add such kind of condition, you can generally prefer the expression binding. If the condition is very much simple, rather than writing the JavaScript code, you can directly write it on the view.xml file. Okay, so that's why we generally prefer the expression binding. So what I will do, I'll declare one list control. So we'll see how the expression binding is helpful. Okay, so now I'll declare one control here, list items. So I'll keep it as an empty now. I'll use the object list item. Okay, object list item has a title property, and after that it has the number, and it also has the number state. Okay, then I'll close. Okay, for the title now I have to do the binding, right? So model that we already have in manifest is the product model. So I'll go to this view.xml, product model / product collection. Okay, so inside the product collection we have all the values. So now I'll save. So normally the binding is done. Now what I have to do, I have to also bind this object list item. Okay, I'll copy, I'll write product model, and I'll bind the values as the product ID. Okay, for the number, I'll make sure that value is a number only, so that I can compare it easily. Sorry. So I'll use the price field. Okay, so and now in the number state, I'll declare the same value. Okay, so now let's check the output first. Oh, sorry, generally it doesn't take this value. Number state takes the value as an error or success. Okay, I'll save, and now I'll reload. I have to check whether all the data is appeared properly or not. Okay, so now I can see. So I have binded the product ID, right? Product ID in the title property, and next I have binded the number. So number is nothing but it's taking the actual price. Okay, so this is the price for that number. Now you can see all the numbers are appearing in the red color. Okay, but I don't want that values to appear in the red color. I want, based on the condition, if some product price falling, that is if the product price is more than 1000, okay, so that product I will highlight in the red color, and if the product price is falling under the 1000, okay, below 1000, so for that I'll make it as a green only. Okay, so if I want to add such kind of conditions, so how I can do? So this is the number state, right? Generally it takes the properties like error, so error, success, or none. So now you can see the error means it will always display the values in the red color, and if I try to use the success value inside the number state, then the values will appear in the green color. But in the both condition, I just want to make sure that based on the condition, if the price is greater than 1000, then only it should be in red color, otherwise it should be in the green color. So how I can add? So I will remove this error. I'll use the standard binding syntax only, but it is just an enhancement. So how to add the expression? So if I want to add the expression in this number state, I'll enter. So inside the number state, I have to make sure that I have to declare this opening and closing curly braces, and inside that first I will use equal to sign, and then I'll use dollar sign, and then again I have to use opening and closing curly braces. Okay, so inside that I will copy this product model price. Okay, I'll copy, and now I have to make sure that the whatever the condition I put, it must be inside this opening and closing curly braces. Okay, so now what I have to check the condition, if price is greater than 1000. Okay, so this is just a threshold value. I'm setting that as a minimum criteria for the price. So if the price is greater than 1000, then I have to declare the value as error, otherwise success. Okay, so now this is how the expression binding syntax. So what I have done, oh sorry, I have to use the question mark here. Okay, so now this is the complete expression binding. So what I have done, I have checked this value. Okay, the product model or price, I have compared this value with this the value that we have entered 1000. If it is greater than, if the first condition matches, then it will pick error. If not, it will pick success. Okay, so now I'll save and now I'll reload. So what should happen in the display, in the screen? So generally the values which are falling below 1000, that should be displayed in the green color, and the values which are falling after 1000, so that should be displayed in the red color. So this is how the expression binding works. Okay, are you guys getting it, the expression binding? Anyone has any questions in this you want to ask?
Can you explain once again, please?
Okay, so what I've done, I've added one condition. Okay, so on the XML only. So in XML we generally know you cannot add the JavaScript code, right? In the XML we generally have to write the code. If you want to add some logic, so that logic has to be added inside the controller. In XML it never accepts the JavaScript code, right? But with the help of expression binding, you can definitely add the condition with the help of expression binding syntax. Okay, so it is just a complex syntax, but it is very useful in some cases if you don't want to write the code inside the controller. Okay, so it will just evaluate the condition in the XML and based on the model's data, and it will evaluate, and based on that it will just append the data, whether it should be error or whether it should be the success to that property. Okay, so generally this is the number state property. It accepts the values as an error or success. Okay, apart from that it will not accept any values. So for such a kind of property, if I want to add such n number of properties at the real time, so I can simply use the expression binding. Okay, so expression bindings can be always written inside the opening and closing curly braces, and then followed by equal to sign and then dollar sign, and inside that I have just declared this model path, and then I've used whether I've checked the condition whether this price is greater than 1000. If the price is greater than 1000, then the question mark, and then in the first, make sure that the values, whichever the values if you want to display, make sure that it should be inside single quotes. Okay, not in the double quotes, otherwise this will not work. Okay, so error, and after that I have given the colon. If the value means if the condition is not satisfying, then it will pick the success. Okay, so that's why I can see the price which is falling below 1000, that are displayed in the green color, and the price which are falling after 1000, that are displayed in red color. Okay, so this is how we generally use the expression binding. Okay, so now let's say
one more thing, Avik. So this expression binding can be used in any property, or likewise you said now that only that value state property. That
no,
kind
no,
of
you
thing.
can use in any property. You can use it any property, that for sure. Okay, so now what I will do, I'll check for whether I have any one property or not for this object list item. So which we will check for the quantity field, right? So whether that quantity or, okay, so what I will do here, okay, so now instead of price in the manifest, sorry, in the product.json, I'll pick the quantity. So for some quantities, maybe what I can do, I'll put the 0, so I can directly display the text as a out of stock in some cases. Okay, so now I'll bind this quantity property there. Okay, quantity. So this is the first message that, but in number state I have to make sure that the number state, it doesn't take any other property. Okay, so it generally takes the value which is already there. So maybe I'll just open the SDK so that you guys can know. Okay, I'll search for the object list item. Okay, so this is the object list item. So what properties we have for this? Okay, we have icon property, then we have intro, number state. Okay, so I think in the number state it generally takes the values this only, that is error, information, none, success and warning. Apart from that you cannot declare any other value. Okay, so as of now we have used the error and success. So I'll check if anything we can add more, so that okay, I'll check for aggregation. Okay, so okay, so I have one first status, so we can add first status. What it does generally, the status text field displayed on the right hand side of the attributes. Okay, so this we can do. Means what will happen, below these values text will be displayed. Okay, so what I will do, I'll bind the quantity, and then if some cases if the quantity is 0, then I'll print out of stock, and if the quantity is available, then I'll print available. Okay, so that's what I will do. So quantity is already binded, and now number state also fine. So I'll use the first status, as this is the aggregation. So inside that what it accepts generally, first status, object status. Okay, so this is the control that it generally we have to declare. So I have to use the object status. Okay, I'll copy the object status, and after that I'll use the text equal to in text I'll add the expression binding in text or in state. Sorry, in text. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now in the object status we have to display the text, right, as of now. So let's say based on this condition, and change this quantity. If the quantity is equal to 0, display error, otherwise it should be a success. And for the text, so I'll add the text on the real time based on this condition only. I'll copy this. Okay, I'll paste it here. Now if the quantity is 0, instead of error I'll say out of stock. Okay, okay, so this is how I've done. And in the state also, so the state property takes the same as a error or success, because the properties for this state is, okay, generally the state is also the value state only. It's the same like the number state. Okay, so now this is done. Now what should appear on the screen? So wherever the quantity is 0, below that the text must be highlighted in the same color that we have already defined for this the number. Okay, so if some cases if the quantity is 0, what text it must display? It must display the text as out of stock. If the quantity is available, if the quantity is more than 0, then in that case it should display in stock. Okay, so now I have saved. I'll reload this app. Okay, so you can see wherever the quantity is 0, I can able to display the text. I should be able to format the text whichever I want. Okay, so that's that is how we generally use the expression binding. So wherever the stock is there, so automatically this text is appearing, and wherever the stock is not present, so we are displaying the out of stock. So how it is done? It is done with the help of expression binding. Okay, so any questions in this?
Expression binding is only specifically used for the view type of thing, not in the controller.
No. You can also use the same syntax in the controller also. Okay. So that's why we will not see the controller part. So I'm just seeing for the view.xml, but basically it's mostly preferable for the XML.
Okay.
Because if you want to avoid the number of lines of JavaScript code, so better use the expression binding. Okay, so in which cases you will use the expression binding? If you want the condition to be evaluated in XML file rather than writing the control code, you can generally prefer the expression binding. Or if you want to format the text, okay, based on the backend property. So I'm not getting this value, right, from the data, but I'm printing it from the front end. So that is how, if you want to evaluate the based on the backend data or based on the property data, if you want to display the text, so you can simply do it with the help of expression binding. And this thing is also possible with the formatter concept. So that concept we'll see tomorrow. But as of now, just try to understand this thing, okay, the expression binding. So any questions in this? Anyone has any questions? Guys, please speak up. If you are not getting this, you can tell me. I will explain it once again. So is this clear for everyone?
Do we have any kind of syntax check? Because I see that the syntax is very important.
Okay.
What did we miss? Something like that?
Maybe not like that. In API reference, you can just go to the documentation section, okay, and you can just search for the expression binding here. Otherwise, if not, you can also search it for here. If you search this also, then also you will get the same thing. So they have already declared so many things here, okay, how to write the expression. So this is already there for some of the properties. Okay, see, you can add the multiple conditions also, like if you want to add 2 ands, so that you can add. So there are so many things you can do with the help of expression binding. Okay. Okay, so now there is one more thing. So you can add multiple condition. As of now, I have just added one condition, right? So this is just a one condition. But what if I want to add one more condition? So I can add the double AND, right? AND operators. I can use the AND operators in this case. So I will write AND operators like this, right? And after that, I'll add one more condition. So if you want to add one more condition, copy all this. So this equal to is not required. It is always required at the start. After that, it is not required. Okay. So the second condition. Okay. So if you want to add second condition, so just for the learning purpose, I will try to declare this thing. Okay. So now, so in XML we never use AND like this. Okay. We have to escape this AND symbol, because in XML there are some symbols which has a high priority. So for that symbols, we don't declare the symbols as it is. Okay, like let's say this is the symbol, right? We generally use this symbol like opening bracket, right, for an opening tag. So you cannot directly use this tag as it is here. So that will not work. It will generally throw an error. Now let's say if I'm adding the tag, okay, I'm adding the tag. If I'm saying if the quantity is less than 0, so what will happen? Oh, sorry, quantity is less than 100. See, it will not work. Why? Because in XML, that symbol, this symbol is very important, right? We generally use this symbol for opening the tag. Okay, that's why if you want to use such kind of symbol, so we have to escape this thing. So if you want to use the so this is less than sign, right? So if you want to use this less than sign, so I have to write LT okay. So this is how you use the less than sign. Okay, we have to follow this symbol. After that, LT means less than, and then I have to give the colon, and then I'll save, then I'll reload.
So it would be the same even for greater than, right?
Yes, yes. Okay, see, now it's working. I don't think so. It is for the greater sign. It generally it definitely works for the less than sign, this sign, and I don't think for the and also it requires. Let's try whether it will work or not. So that's why if you want to add some complex condition, we prefer formatter, but for the simple condition, we generally use the expression binding. So we'll check if this AND GT will work or not. Okay, it's working. So only the one thing I was not able to find out for which symbols they are escaping, because that list is not available. Generally, when I search for the expression binding, it just gives some. It is not enough information in order to get all the things. But there is one link also that if you want to find out the escaping information in the XML. So you can access this link. I'll ping this link in the chat box. Enough information is not available for this XML, but in only for some, because we definitely will not use all the symbols. We generally use some limited symbols, so that's why. But for the maximum, what symbols we use double and, less than or greater than. For that only we generally have to escape. For the rest symbol, it should definitely work. Okay. So now expression binding is it clear to all of you? What we do in the expression binding?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so guys, take your time now. So just try to implement this expression binding within 10 or 15 minutes, and after that I think you can. I mean, still 8 we have time. So whichever the applications, the assignments we have developed till now. So in each and every application we have declared the hard-coded text, right? For the fields, for the labels like the name, the person name, the job profile and all, everything, whatever the name we have declared as a hard-coded, just replace all those text with the i18. Okay, maintain all those properties, the keys inside the i18 file, and just try to bind it on the view.xml file. Okay. Okay, so start your process now, please. Okay, I'll be on mute. So if anyone has any questions, please guys help each other. Okay, just replace all the hard-coded text in your applications with the i18 text. So guys, please ping me if you need my help. Okay. Uh, Hi Mahesh, Pawan and Akash. Should we close this call now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can please continue
Our
with
password क्या है जो PID sir?
sorry?
Maybe stopping from higher direction.
Yeah. Okay. So nobody has any questions, right? I think already.
Many of them left actually.
Yes, so many people's already left. Okay, it's fine, Mahesh. So that's good actually. You guys are already stayed on call. Okay, Mahesh and Pawan,
Yeah.
thank you very much for attending this session. So we'll connect tomorrow
Yeah.
around 5 p.m. Okay.
Yeah.
So bye, and I'll share the recorded video
Yes.
Thank you.
in some time. Yeah. And please let me know if you need any help.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you.